if you believe in this constitutional republic, equal justice under the law, application of our laws, you ought to be very concerned tonight and outraged. General Flynn's entire life has been put in limbo for an entire year for this. I've read the entire report. They even used the Logan Act, and it actually rarely ever used or invoked. But Hillary and the Espionage Act, he's lost his house because he couldn't afford the attorneys. He had to sell his house. His life's work, 33 years of serving his country, washed down the drain for this? Reputation destroyed for this? Nobody in the FBI thought this man lied. Comey didn't think so. McCabe didn't think so. Strzok, of all people, he didn't think so, and he interviewed Lieutenant General Flynn. 33 years of service, 5 years in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan, and this is the treatment, this is the thanks this country gives him? This is how we treat people? What kind of justice system is this? His house nearly faced bankruptcy, literally, and his world crashes before him and his entire family. And I would bet any amount of money that the only reason he signed this deal was, well, it's the same old system. Well, we might have to go after your son, worked with you, and, you know, then we're going to invoke the Logan Act, which nobody invokes, to go after him. So he could have made, instead of serving his country in the private sector, a lot more money. But now he has to sell his house, literally fall on the sword for his family. And don't forget, we know that they got through what a lot of this information through what? We knew he was a victim of illegal surveillance, illegal unmasking, illegal leaking of raw intelligence. What about the people involved in those crimes? His rights were violated at every level. Now, this is a disgrace, and this is what we've been telling you, is a glaring example of a two-tier justice system in America. In Mueller's sentencing memo, it says, quote, senior government leaders should be held to the highest standards. Can we start with Hillary Clinton and James Comey? Because we have a long list of Democrats and Trump haters who have lied under oath before Congress and have faced no consequences. For example, longtime Clinton aide Cheryl Mills, Uma Abedin lied when they told the FBI investigators they had no knowledge of Hillary's private email, except they used it. Either DOJ official Bruce Orr, Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson. They, of course, one of them was lying due to their contradictory testimony. Nobody was held hostage like this for a year. Dirty dossier author Christopher Steele, his entire dossier has been debunked. He lied to the FBI, was fired for lying to the FBI, but he was still working with the Justice Department and Bruce Orr to get to Special Counsel Mueller. James Clapper lied under oath about the national surveillance program. So too did John Brennan, also likely lying under oath about leaking. And don't forget, James Comey himself lied under oath when he said the report about the Clinton investigation had not been written before she was interviewed. Lie. That was being written in May of 2016. They interviewed her in July of 2016. Comey's second in command at the FBI, Andrew McCabe, fired because of his pathetic pattern of lying. Is he going to end up with something like this in his life? Where are the federal cases against any of these people? And that's the short list. A charge is going to be brought to all of those people. When are the screws going to be turned so they sing or compose? Don't hold your breath. And according to Michael Goodwin, President Trump, he is now preparing, and he should be preparing, for an all-out political war for good reason. Robert Mueller and his team of partisan Democrats, even Clinton attorneys, and a pit bull that lost 9-0 in the Supreme Court, cost tens of thousands of people their job, Andrew Weissman, and put 4 innocent people once in jail, overturned by the Fifth Circuit. They have set out to disrupt, discredit, and destroy the presidency of Donald J. Trump. No matter how many lives are ruined in the process, you can't get them on the crime. Let's get them on a process crime. Let's set a perjury trap. Now, we have a lot more all throughout the hour. We'll check in with Congressman Mark Meadows and Congressman Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz. Also, let this monologue be a warning to anyone thinking about traveling through Mexico tonight in order to cross the southern border illegally. A Hannity investigation. It is not easy, it is not safe, and you are literally risking your life. If we had a wall up and people knew they could never get in, lives would be saved. Look at this from the AP. In the past 4 years, approximately 4,000 migrants have gone missing 4,000 during their trek through Mexico. And the AP is also reporting that the true number is likely, quote, their words, much higher. And, quote, bodies may be lost in the desert and families may not report missing loved ones who were migrating illegally. And cartels have a long, scary history of kidnapping, enslaving, murdering undocumented migrants traveling to the U.S. 2010, a mass grave containing 72 dead migrants was discovered. They were all murdered by a dangerous gang cartel called the Zetas cartel. And just this year, 100 migrants from the caravan, including children, have been kidnapped. That same cartel is purportedly responsible. For those who successfully do cross the border illegally, the risks continue, even within the United States, as they trek through rural areas of Texas, north of the border. Hundreds of bodies have been found, many dying of dehydration after getting lost in the desert. In one Texas county alone, over 550 bodies have been recovered since 2009. We talk about family separation. What about permanent family separation with people dying? Now, meanwhile, look at this video. Fencing along the southern border poses a serious risk for illegal immigrants unless we build a sufficient wall. This shocking video from Arizona shows a suspected smuggler, look at this, tossing children over an 18-foot border wall. Others below attempting to catch the kids. Look at this on the other side. Take a look at that video. One as young as 2 years old. In Tijuana, where the majority of the 10,000-plus members of the migrant caravan are indefinitely stuck in limbo, the conditions there are horrific. They face squalid campsites, insufficient facilities, rampant disease. A third of the migrants are now being treated for health-related issues. Tijuana's health department is reporting 3 confirmed cases of tuberculosis, 4 cases of HIV and AIDS, 4 cases of chickenpox, and a hepatitis outbreak. And yesterday, dozens of migrants attempted to sneak across the border near Tijuana, scaling a 10-foot metal fence. That's the one probably Chuck Schumer wants. Others were able to squeeze through gaps in the fencing near the coast. Most were apprehended. I have no doubt the majority of migrants headed to the U.S. are merely in search of a better life and more opportunity. That's why if a wall is properly built, it will secure people on both sides. And the door can be built, and we can reform our immigration system. But be warned, while immigrating into the U.S. is illegal, and not easy, coming across illegally can take your life through the southern border. Very harsh, risky, deadly. And, of course, we often reported the serious consequences illegal immigration poses to those already living in the U.S. We have a briefing I witnessed from Texas Governor Rick Perry. 642,000 crimes committed at the hands of illegal immigrants in a 7-year period in Texas alone. And keep in mind, every single illegal immigrant who crosses our border costs you, the taxpayers, around $70 grand. And last year's total tax bill was a whopping $135 billion. A massive border wall would cost just a fraction of that. And not only would Americans literally will we be given important opportunities here to control our borders, but it would be a deterrent for people that would take that treacherous journey through Mexico. Simple solution to a complex, costly, dangerous problem. It's time for the border wall to be fully funded, and right now. We're going to have more on that later in the show.